Pete Holloway. I'm a Senior Vice President at Hazelford and Watson in Wheeling, where I'm a financial advisor, and I'm also a certified financial planner. And as always, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to On Money. We're having a guest that we had a while back, again, talking about his business. This was one of the shows where people were stopping me on the street and saying how good it was. So I'm certainly glad to have Jim back. Jim Hurley is the president and CEO of Kalkreuth Roofing and Sheet Metal. He's a native of Philadelphia, got a mechanical engineering degree from Penn State, industrial engineering from WVU, and an MBA from Wheeling Jesuit. He and his partner started Kalkreuth in November of 1984, and I want to welcome you back. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good to be with you, Peter.
Great. Tell us the story of the takeover of Kalkreuth, and I particularly want you to retell the story of the post offices in Maryland and what happened there, because it really is extraordinary.
Yeah, so it was in 1984. John's dad was in the roofing and sheet metal business, and he had been reaching retirement age of 65, and it was a tough time to be in business, in the Ohio Valley area. So we were young. We thought maybe we would give it a try, which we did. And as you recall, back then, we talked about this the last time, it was a tough time to be in business in the early 80s in the area in the Rust Belt area. But so we were making a go of it, and by 1985, we had a unit cost contract with the United States Postal Service for the Northern District of West Virginia and the Southern District, and those unit cost contracts were basically designed to be able to price small post offices. Every little town had one. It wasn't really feasible to bid those out individually on the small ones. So they did it on this unit contract. Well, and that was all going well. One day we got a call from the contracting officer out of Gaithersburg, Maryland, and he said, we had 5 post offices in the Maryland market that he was having trouble getting coverage for. So he asked us, would we mind doing those 5 in Maryland under our West Virginia contract? So we took a ride out and to take a look at them, see if the money would work, and it did. But being out there, we were driving down 270, which is, the main freeway from Frederick down to, Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia. And back then construction was just, bursting out of the grounds everywhere. And we thought, wow, what a market. So we went out to do these 5 little post offices, and a contractor we knew from Pittsburgh, John R. Hess Company, who's no longer there, but at the time, they saw some of our trucks. They were working on a little addition at the Tyson's One Mall, doing a small addition out front. They said, we didn't know you were out here. Would you mind taking a look? We'd like to have you. So we said, sure. And we ended up getting a little job there. So then right across the street at that time was when Tyson's 2, I don't know if you're familiar with the area down there, but Tyson's 2 was coming out of the ground. And the general contractor was from out of Atlanta. So I just kind of drove across the thruway and said, we're working across the street at Tyson's 1, and gave us kind of instant credibility, although it was just a small job, but he didn't know that. So the first job we got there with him was the Macy's department store. Then we got the Saks, and then eventually the mall, and it gave us instant credibility, to be in, at the mall across the street. Otherwise, I would have been going over and saying, "Hey, I'm Jim Hurley from Wheeling, West Virginia. How can we help you?" And so it just worked out that way. So that was in 1985, and by 1986. We literally had more work on the books in the Maryland market, Northern Virginia, than we had in Wheeling. So by 1986, we had opened their first satellite office, and that's how that got started.
But it's a neat story, and I guess timing is everything.
Yeah,
Now tell
chance.
us,
You got to be able to take advantage.
and grab,
And
yeah,
that's what
and
we've
you did
always
it.
tried to do. You try to take advantage, as things come up, and it might not all be strategic planning on your behalf, but just recognizing opportunities. I think that's what we're kind of good at.
That's great. Well, since then, you've become one of the top 10 roofers in the country, which is pretty impressive. Tell us how many offices, how many states, and about how many
Oh,
employees?
okay. So, like I said, we started in 84. By 86, we had our first satellite office. That's in Frederick, Maryland, with service to Baltimore, Washington, Northern Virginia, and up to basically the Philadelphia area. That's our oldest satellite office. We probably have 100 people, field and administrative. We have an office in Columbus, Ohio. We've had that for about 20 years. There's about 75 to 80 people working out of that office. 13 years ago, we were doing a lot of work in Kentucky, between Louisville and Lexington. So the time was right to do something there. So our Lexington office has been open for about 13 to 14 years. Our newest office is in Pittsburgh. On the big jobs, we can service them from Wheeling, but to better serve our customers, we needed a office to service them on their smaller type work, which we weren't able to effectively do from here. So the Pittsburgh office is the newest office. It's a smaller office, but it serves a completely different purpose. We also had we had an office in Burlington, Vermont for about 9 years. We went up there to do a job. The Fletcher Allen Medical Center. It was supposed to be a 2-year job, and with change orders and additions, we were up there for 3 years doing that. And while we were there, other GCs around the country that we know, heard we were up there and had some things. So we weren't really planning on having an office, but we ended up staying there for 9 years. And then in that economy in Vermont is completely tourism related. So in 2008, 2009, all of that construction just came to a halt, and it was a little bit tough from the distance, so we closed that. And then you were up at our East Coast facility
East
this
Coast.
week.
Right. Yeah, but I really want to focus on that, but I would like to ask you one other quick question, just to give the viewers a scope of your company. Tell us about just a couple of the big jobs, couple stadiums, and just because I don't think people think around here you're just putting roofs on houses. it's much more than that.
Yeah. So airports. I think we have at Reagan Airport in Washington, D.C. is one of our largest things we're doing right now. It's about with the 2 phases, about a $15 million job. We've been there for 1.5 years. Hopefully we'll get done within the next 6 months. We're doing a nuclear facility down in Georgia, right outside of Augusta, at a nuclear power station. I believe these 2 units are the first 2 new nuclear units coming online in the United States, I think, since the 70s or early 80s.
We're talking about specialization.
Yeah, and a lot of red tape, Healthcare is huge. We're doing all kind of work in Pittsburgh. UPMC is doing all kind of jobs. I don't know how much you get up there. Allegheny Health Network's doing a lot of work. We're doing a lot of work with them. Healthcare in all of our markets, Nationwide Children's Hospital, the university hospitals in Columbus. Healthcare is just huge right now. Some of our other stuff, we're doing a lot of work for the Department of Energy down at the Y-12 complex in Tennessee. That's where we store like 90% of our weapons grade nuclear fuel. High security. We've been there working on a few jobs now for about 4 years, and we probably see another 3 years ahead of us there. Procter and Gamble. I don't know if you've been to Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Oh, that's well, yeah, no, I've read about it.
The facility there is just
Mhm.
huge, and their products, as you know, with the pandemic, the cleaners, the sanitizers, the whatever. I mean, they're just screaming out of the ground, and so that's a Procter and Gamble there. We're gonna start a couple new things with them down in North Carolina. They're doing the same kind of thing down there, and we got some letters of intent for our first 2 buildings down there. So hopefully moving down there with Procter. But as far as stadiums, lately we finished the DC United Stadium about a year ago. The FC Cincinnati Stadium, soccer stadium in Cincinnati, we're at the punch list stage. The new Lexington Soccer Stadium, which is, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it online. So we finished that one in the last 6 to 9 months too. So they're still building stadiums, that's for sure.
Great. Well, again, congratulations on this success. Now, we've been talking about roofing. East Coast Metals. Tell us what that is, why it was started, and what you do.
Okay. So those products are something we used to buy from suppliers, and we had a hard time getting a dependable supplier. We were doing the Nationwide Arena at the time in Columbus, and convex, concave, curved metal panel systems, and it was just hard for them to get it right. We said, just send us the stock material, and we'll make them in the field ourselves. So what we did, so we started East Coast basically to supply those types of panels and systems just for ourselves. One thing led to another. A couple customers started calling and said, would you make some for us? Now that's a whole new business. You saw it up at the Highlands. No one knows where it is. And no one really in the area really knows much about it, because basically, we're not selling to the public or whatever. We're selling to other contractors around the country. We have a whole different independent sales network that does that for us. We're primarily focused on east of the Mississippi, but we're finishing an airport in Fort Myers, Florida now. We've shipped panels to California. We've shipped them up to New England, Texas, you name it. We don't market ourselves in some of those other markets, but we go there with customers that take us there. So that's what it is. We started it just to basically service ourselves, and now we probably have a 15-person or a 15 company independent network of reps who sell that for us.
Well, again, you were kind enough to give me a tour of the place, and I was astonished to see the kinds of equipment that you have in there, because you're bending metal, cutting it to very precise forms, using lasers and so forth. Maybe you could describe some of that machinery.
Yeah, so it's where people maybe think of construction as maybe not utilizing technology the way we do. So we have all the latest laser technologies to field measure things. All of that is fed to computers, at our facility up at East Coast, then laid out, and from there sent out to you saw the cutting tables. No one's doing anything. They're running right off the computers, and basically have an attendant there just kind of watching. So,
Mhm.
yeah, all of our equipment is state of the art. There's nothing newer out there at the moment. And, my partner really he likes to buy toys. And so he gets excited buying new equipment. So, we let him have his fun and do that.
There you go. And then you have to bend a lot of this metal to very precise shapes in order to, we'll be showing pictures of the some of the buildings too. And if people want to walk downtown, all they have to do is look at West Banco, at the outside of West Banco, and they can
Yeah,
see
that's
some of
great.
the
That's
product.
right. That's right. Some of those panels are up at the
Excuse me,
athletic
West Banco
center too.
Arena.
Yeah, right. And then up at the athletic center up at the Highlands too for the county.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's amazing. And some of the other applications, a lot of this is outside stuff, or is it just primarily decorative, or is it some structural?
Yeah, none of it's structural. Most of it's architectural,
Mhm.
but it's not all, exterior. A lot of interior type stuff. If you've been in any airports, with new additions, you're going to see a bunch of it. I'm sure you read about the Pittsburgh airport.
Just today, they broke ground today or yesterday.
Yeah, they have a pile of those panels.
Mhm.
That we do here. So it's interior, it's exterior, it's a variety of colors, a variety of metals, everything from the exotics, coppers, to aluminums, to steel, to composite material. We can do any of it really.
That's great. Well, unfortunately, this area, we're way too negative about ourselves. And here's a company, your company, that is doing things, really throughout the country and doing astonishing things. And I really want to commend you and your complete organization for doing such neat stuff and getting the word wheeling out into the real world.
Well, what I think, and I may have mentioned this last time, we ventured out because we had to. It was basically, survival. If we were going to survive, we were going to have to go out there. And, there's a big world out there. Interstate 70 is only about 11 miles wide here. So, it's a big world out there. There's a lot of opportunities. Companies here need to be thinking, where can I get a piece of the action in other places? Because it's everywhere, and we're so connected. We're close to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, DC. We're just close to a lot of places, and people just need to think bigger.
Well, that's great. Well, I want to thank you for your time and wish you continued success, although I think it's almost a given at this point.
No. Don't make any mistakes here. Nothing's happening by itself. We're learning lessons every day. Don't believe me.
Well, that's good. And the fact you're recognizing that says a lot too. So, well, again, I want to thank you for your time and again, continued great success. I'm Pete Hurley. I want to thank, thank you. And I want to thank all the viewers. We'll be seeing you next week. Have a great week.